What's up, y'all?
PSA Philly service announcement. Takeover Tuesday takeover.
Love, support, and
I'm
grace,
the
y'all. I'm the right hand sister, Raw Cannon. This is Brother Rudy Assist having some technical. No, I can't hear you, bro. You turned it off? He was really just trying to tell you to adjust it. But
We got a vet in here. You know what I'm saying?
there you go. There you go.
See, that's
you
what
go.
happens when you got vets around. But we gonna get to her. But yo, oh my God, fumble. The ring light is a must, ain't it? Ain't the ring light a must?
Absolutely.
So again, this is PSA Philly service announcement. Takeover Tuesday takeover. I'm the assist. Now is yours off now? What is going on? What happened? What happened around here? What do I got my crystals? I gotta make sure I got my crystals.
There we go.
All right, so this is gonna allow me to know.
Lisa was a simple fix. Lisa was a simple
This is
fix.
gonna
That was
allow
my
me to
fault.
know
That was
that
my
this
fault.
is gonna be a dope show.
Absolutely.
That type of stuff lets me know that it's about to be on. We about to hear a lot of good, amazing things, informative
Yes.
things, resources. You know what we do: social activism, resources, art,
Yes.
not entertainment, art. And again, this is my right hand sister,
Yes.
the queen, Nick
Cannon.
Raw Cannon. I gotta get that out. I don't care how many times we fumble, that got to come out.
It is going to
We
come
got
out.
yeah, exactly. And the assist, y'all know what that is. Y'all know how that go down. So listen, I don't explain who anybody is. I don't do any introductions. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't. Again, like I said, I don't want people in my DMs. You know, you messed my name up. You didn't say who I was. That wasn't the title I wanted to go by. You know, I got 3 names on one John on each. You didn't. No.
Just let them do what they say.
So we
Do
gonna
it
let
right.
y'all do it yourself. So first, this young lady right here. I love this shirt. I gotta get me one of these shirts every time I see it now, because I'm a part of that crew now. Right?
Yes,
Ain't I'm
absolutely.
officially a part of that crew.
Absolutely.
Not academically though, and that's a conversation we gonna get into.
It doesn't matter.
Not academically, but I'm a part of that
it's by
crew.
action, though.
And we gonna get to the young brother next, but go ahead, let everybody know all of who you are.
So,
If this is enough time for that.
Oh, it's definitely enough time. We're going to make it enough time. But hey, everybody, I'm Safia Warren, a.k.a. Sunny Brick. I'm the editor and publisher of On the Scene magazine, a positive platform digital magazine dedicated to everything from education to entertainment. I say edutainment. And I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the platform.
Thank you for coming. Thank
Yes.
you.
So before we get into your business, I want the brother to let him know who he is while he's sitting there with the microphone.
How y'all doing? I'm Kareem Al-Hadi. I'm the brand owner of Pariah's Paradise, up and coming business in Philadelphia.
Okay.
All right.
We're going to get into the backstory because I got one of these shirts, but 2 never would hurt. And it has some dope stuff on the back, and I want him to explain it because I don't want to mess it up, and I think y'all going to like it. So the first thing I got to ask are what are all your platforms? Where can people reach you tangible? Where you be at?
Right. So, onthescenemagazine.com is the most tangible website. From there, you can also get, you mentioned the merchandise. So right now, for those that can't see me, that can hear me, I'm wearing a hoodie that says "The Black Press is the voice of Black America," and it's so important that we tell our own stories from our own perspectives and our own narratives, because a lot of times we know they get misconstrued. I'm a 4th generation editor and publisher. My dad had a newspaper. His father had a newspaper. His father had a newspaper. I'm the first woman in my family to do it, but my family's been doing this in print since 1800, since the dedication of the abolishment of slavery. I'm a descendant of William Lloyd Garrison, who had The Liberator, which was a periodical, the most influential periodical dedicated to the abolishment of slavery, and it was saw through 1829 or 31, one of the years, sorry, but through the abolishment of slavery to 1865. So. It's really literally in my blood, and it's my passion and my purpose to be a messenger and to be a walking resource. So,
Wow.
Yo,
That's
there's so many places. Do you have somewhere you want to go with that?
No, go,
Because it's
go.
it's so many. Because first of all, I didn't know that.
Me.
I knew when I met you and we talked and I seen how you move, you know, it's a lot going on there. You know what I'm saying? In a good way. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, for whatever reason, you know, I know you're an energy person too.
right.
Good energy, you're around good energy, intellectual energy.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Social energy. It's like those different things. Is like you gravitate towards those people. Like how we were saying when I came on y'all show, and shout out to Sipping with Sammy.
Shout out to bro.
You know what I'm
Super with
saying?
Sammy. Absolutely.
I appreciate it because it was like I'm starting to run into all these people I used to be going to magnet schools with.
Right.
Or were in magnet schools. Like, we're starting to find each other in these different lanes out here. So that's one thing. I was like, damn, I know she got a lot going on. We gonna find out. But how is it holding that legacy? Because that's a legacy. That's a major thing. That's something that they try to quell. Like, they keep us from knowing that.
Yes, it is.
So for me, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. It's kind of like heavy is the head that wear the crown, right? Because it's so, and it's also like knowing is half the battle, and ignorance is bliss. It's like all those all in one, right? So when people don't know, they don't know. You can't
Right.
fault them for what they don't know.
Right.
But when you're charged, when you're charged with the responsibility to informing other people and being a walking resource and making sure that people have the information that you have, it gets heavy, but it's really not that heavy when it's your purpose.
Right.
Like,
Right.
Right.
You just lifting heavy, but it's easy. Like,
So when did you, I mean, I know it's a generational thing, but when did you know that it was for you? Because a lot of times some children don't go the route of their family, you know?
I didn't. I didn't. So my dad raised me. He was a single father, so he used to always I used to always go to his office all the time. Every Saturday, I would go to the office with him. I started working for him. I was getting a check for him. I was working since I was 6. When I learned my alphabet, I had to put the files in order, alphabetical order. And then when I was 11, or by the time I was like 13, I started answering his phones. I was in his accountant because I went to school I have an MBA, a BBA, and an MBA in accounting. But I also was an account executive. I was an editor. I was a publisher. I was a writer. So he didn't even know that he was actually training me for this. He thought he was training my little brother, who was his namesake. But he just happened to have me there. So he wasn't even trying to train me. He was just like, you here, you can do it. Just do it. And he didn't know. So now he's so appreciative for it. But to your question, I didn't realize till maybe 15 years ago. My business I established in 2010. So it took me 5 years prior to that to even put it into formation. You know what I mean? You had that thought, but you got to move to execution.
Excellent. Yes.
So probably like 15 years ago. So yeah, probably like 2005, 2006, which is pivotal because my brother was killed. I just thought about that. So you know what? That's probably when it happened. Like that's probably when it happened.
Wow.
So when you look at that history, because like me, from reading a lot about our history, like a lot of those people are like superstars to me. I was telling you that before, like, cause it was like, you know, y'all told me I was an honor student, but I came to jail finding out about people I felt I should have learned about in high school if I was supposed to be an honor student. You know what I'm saying? So William Garrison, Nat Turner, that wasn't really a story like in depth talked about. Paul Cuff, who had an idea similar to what Marcus Garvey had about going back to the continent, but for different reasons. When I heard, you know, I say it a lot, you know, Marimba Annie, Sheikh Auntie Job, Ivan Van Serta, but like, it's like, how is all of this information out here while I was in school and I didn't know nothing about it, but y'all telling me I'm an honor student, and then you actually have one of these people because you went to private school, you went to the best schools, you was a magnet student, and you was learning information outside of school.
Right.
So it was like, when did it like hit you like, yo, my folks is like, not like superstar like Mike and them, but almost like, yeah, like actually, yeah, though.
I don't think it hit me yet because it's our purpose. Like, so it didn't even hit me yet. Like,
Because
hearing you say that,
I read
like,
it.
maybe
and I'm
right
like,
now.
yo, like you changed the course of America. You had somebody in your life, in your family, in your direct bloodline that you know about that helped change the course of American history. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, this
I
how
appreciate
important
that.
these people
I might have
are.
took
You
it for
know?
granted. I'm thankful that you even said that because I might even took it for granted. Like I said, I'm just like, we just doing what we supposed to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? But to know the impact that it had on so many centuries and so many people,
Right.
Because
wow.
we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it a little later, but what you saying about print media goes right into what we've been talking about like the last 3 weeks and say her name, like the way
Yeah.
that the media,
It's
like, okay,
portraying, yes.
we can point at the cops, we can point at interracial stuff with us not doing the right things to you know, push each other forward and show homage to each other and have remembrance for each other, but the media plays a big part in how these things are viewed. And you come on and
Perceived,
say,
yes.
listen, black press is extremely important because we need to shape our own stories. We need to tell the accurate story from our perspective.
It's important because look at how the narratives change. I mean, look at Ahmaud. Look at just so many. Sandra Bland. Look at George Floyd. And those are critical stories. But I mean, it's so many people who in Philadelphia who narrative was told the wrong way, improperly or incorrectly. You know what I mean? So it's just important that we in this time with all the resources that we have, that we utilize them in the right way. You know, I think that negativity is broadcasted far too commonly. Like,
Right, absolutely, yes.
It's far too common.
Yes.
So why not publicize and highlight the things that are resourceful for us? Education, entertainment.
Right.
The amazing things that we are.
You know what I
doing.
mean?
Art.
Entrepreneurship.
It
Whatever.
just-
Sports, whatever it is. But just the positive aspects of it.
It just always needs to be a balance.
Right.
Because you can't eliminate one side. Like, people are like, oh, why are you reporting negativity? It's like, yo, these things have to be reported.
Right.
But you have to give equal, if not more, to the positive side, and the positive side of stories and the positive stories.
Right. So so I think they have to be reported, but it's like not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
Right? So that's what I think is so important. Like when you turn on any national channel, you're typically not going to see positive information. You know what I mean? It's like it's there. Why is that hidden under rocks?
Right.
Like even what you said, the highlights of the people, all those greats that you just named. Why don't we know that? Why doesn't mass education, like why isn't that taught on a day-to-day basis?
And that's why it's important for us as black people to tell our own stories, because the media dominated by the white people has their spin on that story. So just like the example of the young lady that got shot in Fallcroft, and it was all over the news that, you know, it was possibly, there's a chance, there's a possibility, it's likely. Like none of the news articles that I read during that time said that this young lady was shot by a bullet that came from a cop's gun.
Even this, to today, it was on the news this morning, and even the way that they so delicately say that she was shot by a police officer and that they're on administrative leave, it's like they still are not. It's not ownership,
Right?
You know what I mean? It's
At
just
all.
not. And so again, that's why it's so important to have those narratives, so we can call whoever out. You know, people who are responsible for whatever action or inaction it is.
Right.
It's important that we highlight it from our perspective and not so delicately mention things.
Exactly.
I think it's real important about the accuracy. You know what I'm saying? Because we
Absolutely.
can, and I think, you know, nothing that you ever going to write is going to be objective. For real. It's all, you supposed to write subjectively, but you're supposed to write objectively.
Right.
But most things, just because of personal experience, how much you're invested into the story, rather it's, I'm trying to win a Pulitzer. I'm
Right.
trying to make sure I maintain a certain amount of money, or a certain amount of prestige, so I don't want to make certain people upset.
Right.
Rather you talking from a personal experience that you had, and you just write from that all the time, to the point where you're not looking at the whole story, because you're writing a story through your personal lens
Through
every
your
time.
lens, exactly.
Right. So accuracy is very important, and I think what we bring to the story living in these experiences is accuracy. Because we need multiple people from our background writing about the story. You can't have people from the outside in writing a story, because no matter how many different people that write it from that outside, they're never going to be as accurate as the multiple stories that come from the inside, so to speak.
And not only that, the accuracy, but the competency. Like you can't, you have to have that competency to be able to speak from this lens.
Right.
I don't care what you read. I don't care how much research you did. You are going to deliver that information in a way that is competent for you. And if you don't live the culture, and you're not born in the culture, and you don't come up in it, it's hard for you to give it that full competency that it needs in order to reach the people that it needs to reach in the way that it needs to be reached. Because it's, you know, as long as you putting that spin on it, or you're not giving it the full capacity of, you know, like the just the reality of it, it's not going to be perceived and received in the way
Correct.
that it needs to be.
Right.
And so something I also want to say is that a lot of people in these days don't fact check. So like you said, one thing you said was it doesn't matter how much research you did. You could be researching otherwise. It doesn't matter how much research. If it's not from a credible source, you're wasting your time.
Right.
And that's what a lot of these things, that's again what I talk about mass media a lot, or not even just mass media, just media in general, because even down to social media, a lot of times there's things that aren't even necessarily accurate, as you just, I want to bring it back to your statement, accurate, factual, truthful, valid. And people just take it and run with it.
Right.
And it's a person that's in media. For me, it's almost a disgrace for people to be able to so easily be able to do that.
Put
Right.
information out just
Absolutely.
any kind of way. And
Right.
that's the part of the agenda part of social media.
Right.
When because everything that we see, even when we say why are these things not being promoted correct, it's an agenda.
Right.
Why would I want to tell you good stories about yourself when I need you to stay in a certain space? I need you to stay under a certain thumb, under a certain control. So the agenda is never going to be for me to tell you who you are, what you
Right.
need to know about yourself. How can you reach your full potential? I know what your potential is, but the agenda is I got to make sure I put it out there in a way so you'll never understand what your full potential is. You'll be fighting all of these internal wars against yourself, self-hatred. You'll be fighting that and never reach your potential because I'm putting things out there, whether it be visuals that make you think less of yourself or information that you follow that you think is beneficial but it's really not. All of those things are agenda based.
Right, and so before you get to agenda, something I'm teaching my sons is to be independent and to not be followers, to be very strong in their own mental. You know what I mean?
Right.
Don't follow anybody because you can't follow an agenda if you know where you are, where you know where you stand.
Exactly.
So
importance
that's
of
something that's
identity.
really absolutely it's something that's really important for everybody to understand, to know what you stand for, to know what you won't fall for. You know what I mean? That's something that's very crucial for people to understand. I don't know if people really take it to heart as seriously as it is.
And that's important for our children because the one thing that we know is that the negative bad story is going to move a lot faster than that positive story.
Sure.
And that's another reason why it's so much of it out there, because this person going to share it, then that person going to share it. They not sharing the good stories like
But guess
that.
what? If I said I got $1 million, I know how to get you $1 million, right? I get you $1 million, and then I get you $1 million. Aren't you going to share that story of how to get $1 million, or are you not? Because sometimes people petty and sometimes people selfish.
No, they are.
So I don't know. This is actually a question I just came up with. Like, would you share that? Like,
Yeah.
I would.
Absolutely.
But again,
So people should share them positive stories and that positive information. It's food for thought.
Yes, it is.
It helps you. It's beneficial to you and others. Like, why not? Be resourceful.
Because it also sharing that positive information puts you in a space where you need to be perceptive of where you are. You know
Sure.
what I mean? And a lot of times people not ready. They not ready.
Absolutely
And they
right.
want to, to see the positive and move the positive and share the positive, they would have to acknowledge where they're at in their space. And a lot of times they not ready for that. They still in oppression is it takes a toll on people, on our culture, and we have it does things to the mind and the physical, and it keeps you in this state of immobility, like
Yeah.
you stuck.
Right.
You know
'Cause
what I mean?
It goes back to and I have some. I really want to know when you looked at the black press as that name, as that as that label, and said, "Yo,
very
this is
interesting story.
important."
Yes.
So it goes back to that responsibility you said from the beginning. What she is talking about is like, "Yo, are people capable of handling the responsibility of knowing?" Like you said earlier, that's what we talking about when we say the negative travels faster and would you share the information.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
that Peter Parker thing, like with great power comes great responsibility, and that's
Absolutely.
information.
Yes.
That's
And
information.
is
Information
power.
is your great
Yeah.
power
It is.
that they're trying to keep limited in
But
all
once
of
you
that.
have it, they can't take it from you.
But when did the black press become something you said, something you talked about, something you was like, "Yo, this is important"? When did you get that?
Let me tell you where this came from. This saying is my grandfather's saying. I found my dad's shirt from the 70s, and I just wore it, and I actually wore it recently to, I kneeled for George Floyd, when we kneeled for the amount of time that they had, did what they did. And I had that shirt on, and I saw a picture that somebody captured, and I was like, that's it. Like, it's so important, because for me, it was a moment that was so important for our culture, in a both negative and a positive light, because it sheds light on so many things. But that's when I trademarked it, and that's when it became not only a business but became a movement for me.
Right.
So I want to say last year is when it happened.
Because that's something else historically that I've read.
But this
about.
is from the 70s though.
Right, that's something else. That's why when I seen you with the shirt, when I seen you with it on before, and then I seen that show when y'all was talking about it, and we was just talking, y'all was just talking about like going backstage and stuff like that, and it's like, no, we radio hosts, we're press, we deliver some sort of news, like we're black press, and I was like, damn, We are. And I've read about that before. Historically, you know the importance of the black press. So when I seen you with the shirt on, I was like, damn, that's another thing that made me, no, she on something a little bit different. Everybody don't move like that. So when you say you recognized it, like, how, when you seen it, you seen it from what year was that? Because you just said.
I saw this shirt when I was. I mean,
it's
I
from the
always had this
'70s, but
shirt.
when you was like, no,
I was like
that's
12, but that's what I'm saying. This shirt, I've always had my dad. I always used to steal my dad clothes.
Right.
Like my dad was real frugal. Like he was up, but he was frugal. Like he was never buying
That's why
me
he
the
was
fly
up.
stuff. Right? No, he had it, but I didn't have it. Right. So I used to take my dad polo seersucker jackets. Right. I used to take all my little polo, his J Crew stuff. But I used to take his t-shirts too, and I took this t-shirt, and I got some little Lakers shorts too that's like this big from the 70s, right? But neither here nor there. I took my dad's shirt when I was like 12, and I knew it was important then.
Right.
I've had this shirt since I was 12, not the shirt, but I had this shirt that I wore to that I kneeled in
Right.
since I was 12. That was my father's shirt I had on. Had it since I was 12, and like I said, and being in the rooms that I'm in, having a platform that I have, speaking to the people that I speak to, seeing the misconceptions that I see. It literally clicked amongst the pandemic, amongst everything that happened. So I put this into fruition in January of this year is when I started actually printing them. I trademarked it last year, and I started printing it this year in January.
Something you said, and it jogged my memory. We had Councilwoman Jamie Gaultier on here, and I was asking her, like, as a black person in city council, in politics, do you still get pushback on race? Is it still a thing where people try to still act like race is not this determining factor in a lot of things? And she was like, no. And when she said it, I'm like, nah, that's not what I read. But what she said was, it hasn't been because of since George Floyd. Like, George Floyd made it okay or made it all right, you know what I'm saying, for political figures to be like, no, we gonna talk about race. We not gonna try to say poor white folks. You know what I mean? You know how we add everybody in so we can say race?
So that's
you know what I'm
what I was gonna
saying?
say, like,
you don't have to do that.
I think it depends on what room you're in, because it
Right.
definitely still exists. So as an aside, I'm also a notary and a loan signing agent, and so in some rooms it still exists. You know, a friend of mine literally was trying to get houses in a prestigious neighborhood with his name. He's Hispanic. No, he didn't get any replies, and he changed it to, I forgot the all-American name that he used, and got responses from the exact person. He called her out on it. And, you know, so it absolutely exists. It just depends on the industry and the room you're in. And I think politically it does too.
No, she said it's still there, but she was like, them being able to, like, I don't know, it kind of galvanized and be able to say, listen, this is happening. Y'all move. A lot of people move in a lot of different ways because of George Floyd, not in all the ways that we want, but that I guess even if you could say it's token, but it's still giving me enough room to say certain things. Like, all right, this what y'all playing with. I'm gonna step in here and say this because y'all playing with it right now. I'm gonna take it all away. I'm gonna push it. You gonna say y'all want to be more diverse? Well, we gonna push the envelope on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
anything that y'all might just be playing to the time so y'all can calm people down. When I see it, I'm pushing the envelope on it. Oh, you want to use that? Well, I'm gonna push it on you even harder. Like, if you gonna say again, you want to be diverse. Well, you need that. Forget 10 people. We need 30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That type of
What's
thing.
What's the percentage?
You take advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
Or did you say 0.10, like 10 point? What are you saying?
So when you were saying that George Floyd moment, it made me think about that because she used that in particular to say, no, since George Floyd, we are more cognizant about race. We're more assertive about race.
Because that was an awakening.
Right.
Yeah.
It was an awakening.
It was.
And that's yo, I haven't been like watching. I know these things happen. I've been reading about it but I don't necessarily like watch the whole thing through. I'll get the story and then like a lot of the stuff that goes on around it, because in my mind, unfortunately, it's like we should push harder because there's going to be something else. So we so caught up in this one, and we should make sure this name is always said, because every other group of people does that. You can't forget anything of any traumas that happen to their group. I always point to like Jewish folks. Their mantra is never forget. Like, and we've been through. It ain't like we doing a struggle Olympics, but the atrocities that have been done to black folk
are always forgotten. Or
you know what I'm saying?
They're always unwritten.
If I can't say anything about the Holocaust, any questions, and I gotta always pay respect and memory, you know, the Ma'afa is the same. The slave trade is the same. You know what I'm saying? Like Jim Crow, even without slave trade, you know what was happening to us during Jim Crow? Like, come on, man. So I always want people to look at it like, yo, you can't you can't forget what's going on. You gotta press the envelope whenever it's an opportunity that you see that something is going on that's not going right for our people racially.
Right.
If you in that space, you gotta press the envelope a little bit more. And George Floyd, I watched it, but I know it's so many other things that go on. You know what I'm saying? But
one thing, but no, go ahead.
No. The reason why I said all that is because do you ever feel like it can be like re-traumatizing? Like sometimes I read books, not sometimes, but books that I've read about history, and I read the things that happen, and I'm visualizing and I'm thinking about it, and I gotta put the book down sometime, and you dream about it, and it's like, damn, is learning this information or exposing this information, is it re-traumatizing? Do you feel like that?
So
as a journalist, because you are a journalist.
I am. So I don't know if you're familiar with McBride's stories. We interviewed him on Sipping with Sammy, but he has over 100 different books with multiple celebrities. Yandy, my son, World Meta Peace. But my sons are 7 and 8, and he has 2 books called, one is Black Lives Matter, and I can't remember the other one. But anyway, when you say traumatizing, it talks about the history of us as black people, and my sons were so traumatized by reading it, and it's for kids. It's a kid's book.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, "Mommy, is this still these bad people around? Like, why did this happen to these people? Like, why did this happen? Like, so it's very traumatizing." And I was traumatized having to explain it to them, and it wasn't told in a horrific way. It was literally told as a children's story.
But they can feel it. They can connect with it, and because of the history, when you can read someone else's story or hear someone else's story and experience that vicarious trauma, it's like you're living it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the reason that you're living it is because of the connection. Mm-hmm. So it does, unfortunately, give that, when you read about it or you hear about it, you go through it, kind of say, not mm-hmm. as, but you experience it, and it touches to your makeup, mm-hmm. who you are as a person. If you are not traumatized by it, what's wrong with you? Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So you can tell that, you doing good with your sons, you raising your sons good because they affected by it. They not laughing at it. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that same story can be looked at, read, or received by somebody else, and they think it's funny. Mm-hmm. Oh wow, like just mm-hmm. because of the connection and how they're being raised and how they're coming up, it's hard, and that's the unfortunate part about it. Like, I'm working in the mental health field, and I'm working with people with PTSD, mm-hmm. and one of the things about some of the therapeutic techniques that is used is that cognitive behavioral therapy can be balanced on whether it's good or not, because it requires you to think about those negative behaviors, right? And reaffirm and try to come out with something positive about it. This is, instead of this negative connotation that you associate, this experience that you associate to that bad part of your life, let's be here now in the moment and come up with some positive connections that connect you to that, so it's not so bad. So it's like, all right, if I gotta do that, I gotta relive that experience. You know what I mean? And that's one of the downsides for a particular type of therapeutic technique when you're dealing with people with different kinds of trauma, or mental health issues like, PTSD. Mm-hmm. So, and we as a culture have PTSD. No, seriously, as a culture, we do. We have PTSD.
I
was thinking that when you first started talking about it.
Yeah, and that's crazy because what I feel like we have to do, and you just said it, as far as you got to inform yourself. So you gotta kind of go through the trauma to be sane.
To get to that
you know
point.
What I'm saying? To be sane and to be sane in America, you gotta inform, to defend yourself in America.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You gotta almost try. You put yourself through that trauma. It's like a training, because you need to know. Because I asked this question before. I asked how do you want to shape your sons in this? If that's something that you can answer. And what you do, like, do you feel like it'll be like, not offhanded, but they'll get it from osmosis, just being around mommy, seeing what she do, they'll gravitate towards it, or is it something that you're going to actually train them to do what you do or something similar, and you want them to be able to do their own thing, but it's like you still want to give them a skill set, because I think that's something that we battle with, where it's like you don't want to make your children do what you do, but that's something you're proficient at. You have a skill set in that, and you have to give them that. It's like you need to pass that thing off, because you know that. And as a parent, you would be neglectful, I feel like, not to give your child at least the theory of the skill set that you have, but also allow them to do whatever they choose to do. You know what I mean?
So interesting you said
that's a tool that you have. You know you're good at it.
Yeah.
And you should feel the need to pass it down to your kids, but then it's like, am I making them do something they don't want to do? But at the same time, I know this. If I fix cars, I know I can show you how to fix a car.
But remember I told you.
But you might not want to be a mechanic.
Remember
but that's
I
a
told
skill
you,
set I know I can pass that.
Remember I told you in the beginning, though, that my dad was grooming my little brother. My little brother is so far removed from anything with this. He's in hospitality. Like, he don't care about this. But it's so funny because you had me thinking, because I'm like, I would never force my kids. But actually, now that you say it, my oldest probably would do really well, because I swear he's going to be like a lawyer. He always has he has a rebuttal for everything. He has, or not even rebuttal. Like, he has some kind of way to just get around every single thing, or to find an angle. So I'm like, that's
to
media.
make you
like,
think about it.
I'm like, he could be media because he could find a way to. I never thought about it though.
I think about that too, because of the fact that you have a lot of our people who acquire a certain amount of access, especially our parents and grandparents that went through a lot of trauma as black folk in America, and it's not, I'm not going to say it's a debate, but it's a real thing out there of people who decided not to tell their kids anything and just try to give them the access and help them kind of live in an America that they hope to exist because they got access now. And then you got the people who say, no, you need to know what this is about. You know what I'm saying? And some of those people who kind of sheltered their children and all that, you can understand why. Like, it's like the re-traumatizing thing.
Right.
But then somebody can be like, well, you're not preparing them for America they're going to be dealing with. But they got access. They're not going to necessarily deal with that thing. You know what I mean? It's a joint. The same thing with the skill set joint. I am a plumber. My son may not want to be a plumber, but I feel like it's mandatory that he has that skill
set.
If everything else falls apart, I taught you how to be a plumber. Now, you can choose not to be a plumber, and I'm cool with that. But the fact that you don't want to do this right now, I kind of got to play the parent card and be like, no, you're going to learn this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't think that would be wrong.
No. I don't think so. As you saying that, my dad was just calling me too.
I seen that.
Like,
I seen that.
I was cracking up just there.
So before we get to the say her name segment, and we kind of went into it already, the thing that I want to know is, like, what's next for you? Like, what do you think the next one? I like to know that with people. Like, what do you think your next move is to your legacy? Because I feel like you at that point, you got kids. It's legacy time, and it's nothing wrong with thinking like that.
No,
you know what I mean.
I think like that all the time.
What is your legacy? What is your legacy outside of the tradition? You're gonna have it with the tradition, but what is it? Or is it the tradition? I'm just moving it forward.
It's not even just necessarily the tradition. It's just understanding, the importance of securing the family, not only just financially, but with your values, with your ethics, with your morals. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm focusing on. So like I said, my sons are 7 and 8, and they already understand entrepreneurship. They don't have to go in entrepreneurship, like you said. They don't have to do it, but they understand it. So I'm trying to build platforms in so many different ways. In real estate, like I said, I'm a notary, also, and a loan signing agent. So I have another business. I have the magazine. I'm an accountant. So, and I'm teaching them all these different, not necessarily the trades of all of them, but to understand that you have to diversify and that you can't have all your eggs in one basket. And you got to make sure that I tell them, what I tell my sons is it's two things I tell them every single day. And they're 7 and 8. It's 2 things I tell them. First of all, is the easiest thing I can say is, you make good decisions, good things happen. You make bad decisions, bad things happen. Point blank, period. I've been telling them that since they was 3 and 4, and I tell them that every single day. And I also tell them, I know a lot of people don't believe in school and don't think you got to, go to school, but you do. You do have to go to school. And I tell them, make sure that you do the best that you can be in school, because they're so disheartened. My son saw somebody homeless yesterday and said, Mommy, can we just give him $100? Like, he said, he just don't have nothing, Mom. We got it. Can we just give him $100, please? But the sympathy and the empathy that he had,
empathy.
I want to make sure that they always have that for people.
Yes.
And make sure that they still pour into themselves so that they can pour into others.
They hustling out here now though, so we gotta give them that game.
That's what I
too.
told my
Like,
son. I told my son that. I ain't want
you
to take
gotta
it there.
figure it out, cause when I first came home, and I don't want to go off. I want you to get to it. When I first came home, I was giving everybody a couple $, like everybody, every store I came, and then I started to realize, like, yo, I'm at the gas station counting change up. And I was like, damn, I just gave that motherfucker $2, and then I gave that motherfucker over there $1, and now I don't got no gas money.
Yeah, no.
So
Who giving you gas money?
Exactly. So all of, and then my new joint was, you see that car seat in there? I ain't got it for you, homie. I'm sorry. I wish I could. I wish it was nice. I wish I was built enough to do it for you. But if you see that car seat, it's unfortunate. I don't got it.
Real quick, just to circle it back, that's why I told him though. That I did tell him that I told him about the game, but I also told him, and that's exactly why you have to do what you got to do so you're not in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
So
exactly.
before we get to the young brother, you know what I'm saying? We have a very important segment that we do every show.
Yes.
Raw candidate. Well, nah. When we do this, I'm gonna say Nick, the Queen. Nick does it. My right hand side.
I like that. I like that.
So let them know what's going on.
But yes,
sis.
so every week we have the Say Her Name segment of the show, and I always do a little recap how we came up on the Say Her Name segment of the show. We had a discussion about intersectionality, about how black women are discriminated against. It's that point of intersection where you're discriminated against because of the color of your skin, but you're also discriminated against because you're a woman.
Right.
And in that conversation came the issue of black women who are dying at the hands of the police, but it is not talked about in the media as much as the black men, or and a lot of things. One of the things I always want to address again is that this is not to say or take away from the black men that are dying at the hands of the police. It's just the fact that the media talks about it more, and they don't share enough the stories of the black women who died at the hands of the police. And specifically, even the young lady that I'm going to talk about today, I'm having difficulty even finding a picture of her.
Right.
In my research and the things that I found out, I'm looking and I can't.
And we was asking the question too, like, why do you think that is? Like, just to get people to look into it. Do you think it's the media? Do you think it's because it's the police? Do you think it's because, like, what are the reasons why you think they would have this agenda?
because women still don't have the rights that men have.
That is part of it. That is definitely part of it, and that is one of the that's that part of, and that's that intersection where we are a minority because we're women, and we're a minority because we're black. And this particular young lady, Queen Robin White, because she was 50, she's would have been, she's older than me, so let me pay my respects. Well, apparently it was a domestic altercation, and she was firing shots randomly in the air, and the police responded on the scene. They say they asked her to drop her gun. She didn't drop the gun, and they say she pointed at them, and one of the police officers fired multiple shots and killed her. The story says that it was confirmed she didn't fire any shots at the police officer, but just the fact that she had a gun, she was a black woman, and her life is not valued like white people's lives are valued. Like the young YouTube video, the white man on the YouTube video that got out the car and was hunting the cops. He was hunting, and aiming and shooting at them, and then they gave empathy to the young lady that was in the car with him. And this is a woman who, she 50 years old, shot dead by police because she was holding a firearm. It doesn't discuss the firearm. It doesn't say it was illegal or anything like that. But they say it's just, a domestic dispute. But the worst part about this is it's not allowed out there on this particular incident. I don't have any pictures of the lady. I can't find. It was in Louisiana. And
Was it Louisiana or St. Louis?
St. Louis, I'm sorry. Yeah, St. Louis, yeah. And I was unable to find any pictures of her because I wanted to, put a face to the name, and I wasn't able to do that. So I'm gonna say her name. I want everybody to say her name, and we're going to continue to say their names. Robin White. She was 50 years old, and she was shot and killed by the police in St. Louis.
This the thing about it. Like, I feel like all of them Joneses kind of reported the same way. It's kind of like, boom, this one was clean, as they probably would say. Like, she had a gun, she pointed a gun, and that would be the whole. But the thing that I'm gonna go to, because we had video, so now, like we was talking about before, video allows us to see how much hell we was already catching. You know what I'm saying? And video might have quelled it maybe 10%, maybe some cops are mindful of video now. So, but most of them still don't care because they know that it's going. They've seen enough to know that they're going to be exonerated if they're even brought to charges.
Right.
But this is my thing. It's not clean. It's not clear cut. It's not justified, because I've seen too many videos where situations exactly like this and white folks get brought to justice. They don't
Without dying.
They don't die.
Without dying.
They don't die. Whether it's the car thing, they tried to use their car for what? I seen videos with cops hanging on the cars.
Right.
No cops firing. I seen them. They out there. I seen them. It's more than one. I've seen people physically assault the cops. I seen white folks physically assault cops with firearms.
Yeah.
Everybody go home that night. I seen dudes mass murder stuff, get McDonald's, make it to the precinct.
Yeah.
I seen it. So you can't tell me this is clear cut. You can't tell me this is clean. You can't tell me it was justified, because I seen too many videos of people doing extreme shit to the police, and the only difference was the color of their skin. They was white. I sent my partners and everything. I sent them the tape of the girl who got out the car after the boy was backing the cops down, like he was out there putting working on them. And they still had the wherewithal when she came down the street with her hands up after being in that car, and they seen her get out the car, to be compassionate to her. They still had it.
Like,
they still had it. One cop was shot. They was just in a shootout. And he's still in this heightened state where they always say,
in the moment, in self-defense.
He still had compassion for this young woman. He didn't treat her rough. Even if he didn't shoot her, he didn't rough her up, because for real, she's a co-conspirator. That's one I want everybody to know. She's a co-conspirator. You were you got out the car after the fact. You were let out the car. You're a co-conspirator. You conspired. That's how the law work. I've been there. I know it. You're a co-conspirator. Ain't near one of us. My man just shot at the cops. I get out the car at the corner and come back down, and y'all don't book me on conspiracy and treat me like I'm the one that shot. So it's not an extreme case, and it's not clear cut. It's not extreme on saying it wasn't justified, right? And it's not clear cut in saying it was justified, because I've seen videos in the other direction. I've seen it. I've seen white folks do a lot of amazing things, violent things to the police,
and they
still
not have the ability to resolve the situation without ending life.
Too many times. The videos, they all on YouTube, y'all. Yeah. So for any black person who would try to tell me, yo, how y'all arguing this and that, and the third, this is what making it look bad. Well, go watch YouTube, baby.
Yeah.
Young man, whoever it is that disagrees with the fact that this wasn't clean cut, and she shouldn't have died right there.
Right.
Gun or no gun. Because you didn't fire at the police.
Nope.
Your husband called, or whoever it was, your partner, domestic dispute. Gunshots being fired before you got there. Everybody, from what I read on there, a lot of the people around was saying it sounded like a mental breakdown. Like she was having a mental breakdown.
Yeah.
And that's how it was. That's how he called and told them. He didn't call and say she's shooting at everybody. He said she's shooting.
That just happened here in Philly though, so we know what happens.
Yeah.
We know
what happens. I mean, this is a person who don't have no history, no records. You know what I mean? Like
that's why you couldn't find a picture, because if she did, you would have had a picture.
Yeah,
at least a
mugshot or something. But no, she don't.
With the guns, I seen her make it home with the guns. So we gonna say her name.
Yes, Robin.
Like we're gonna do it every week. This is PSA Philly service announcement.
Love, support, and grace.
Yes. The young brother is standing there. He got the dope shirts ready. You know what I'm saying? So again, give them who you are. What's your platforms? Give us a little rundown of what you doing out here.
I'm Kareem El Hadi. My clothing brand is Pariah's Paradise. I'm an up and coming brand owner of Philadelphia. It's just a clothing brand. I like fashion a lot, so I just decided to start my own clothing brand. The way it started was basically, like high school. A lot of kids, you don't dress like other kids, you gonna hear it. So it was like, it would be days where I'd be like, dang, like what I gotta wear to, be cool with the other kids. And it came to a point where it's like, I want to rock what I want to rock.
Right.
Exactly.
So it just came down to me, starting my own brand, starting my own stuff, and just doing it like that. And I started about, started a few months back. I just been going ever since.
So
That's what's up.
you have I got one of the shirts already. Two won't hurt, like I said.
Yeah.
And it had a message on the back.
Yeah.
And I don't want to chop it up.
Yeah.
I read it. It says something about being an outcast, but I want you to give a better understanding of what does it say? What does it mean?
So it basically said a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth. So from my perspective, basically, in high school and middle school, elementary school, a lot of kids was picked on because they wasn't the basketball players. They wasn't conformed with the society of schools. So it was basically like a lot of kids would take themselves away from everyone else because they ain't feel in with the cast that in with everybody else.
Right.
So it was basically like a child will break down from something like that. Like anybody will break down from not want to be
Being ostracized.
yeah, basically being outcasted by everybody else because you like your own style of music or you like your own style of clothes, or you wear your hair a certain way. So it's basically like I wanted something for everybody to feel like you're welcome here, or I wanted something for everybody to feel like you're the star, you're not an outcast, basically.
So I talk about that to my students a lot because I'll be asking them like, do y'all listen to R&B, stuff like that. It starts off funny, but it'd be like, yo, y'all really don't listen to R&B? Nah, ain't nobody listen to that. But it's like 2 or 3 cats in there. It's like, I know you listen to R&B, dog, but you can't say it right now. But you can't, and it's that thing. And these guys are 13 to 18, so it's that same age group that you're talking about. The point that I want to make too about the ostracizing is our ancestors. The highest penalty you can get for doing something severe was being ostracized from the community. It wasn't if you killed somebody they would kill you, if cut off your hand or imprison you or anything. If what you did was that bad, they knew that ostracizing you would be the worst thing that can happen to you. That was the highest penalty. You know what I'm saying? And for you to you're acknowledging that right now. Like, yo, do you know what that would do to a person?
Exactly.
So I want to create something that makes you not, because that feeling can drive you insane.
Exactly.
It can make, like you said, the burn down the village part. That can come out in a lot of different ways, and we see it.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? It may be internal, where they do something to themselves, or it may be external, where it's like, I'm gonna get back at everybody. You know what I'm saying? It blows up. So, besides the T-shirts, though. What do you do personally? Is there any interacting that you do personally to try to change that, or is it just like, yo, I'm good with the T-shirts and the message, and that's what I'm gonna do right now? Is there anything physical that you do? Is there any organizations you want to start? Conversations that you have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, down the line, definitely. For right now, like my social media posts for all like.
What is your social media? Because you didn't say
it's Pariah's Paradise
No,
official.
I said share that.
It's Pariah's Paradise official. I got that on Instagram, Twitter, and I just started TikTok.
Okay.
A lot of people been telling me start the TikTok. But yeah, I basically, I got posts that like promote, self-love. I got posts that promote, being who you are, being you, doing you. I got a lot of posts that do that. But in terms of like organizations and stuff like that, I think further down the line, once I get a bigger name for it, I think it would work a lot more.
So I could kind of tell. I'm not gonna say I'm the craziest fashion guy, but I can kind of tell that you like fashion because the shirt that I got is a high quality.
Yeah.
It's a high quality shirt. The design on there, the feel of the tee, like you could tell the difference. I know we wear enough T-shirts. You know the difference. It's a high quality shirt. Did you seek that out, or did it kind of fall in your lap? Like, did you know somebody? Did your folks know somebody?
So with that, it was a lot of research before I even started the brand. It was finding, what colors people like. It was finding like what styles people like. So I think with this, one of my other boys, he has his clothing brand. So talking to him, he helped me out a lot too. And I had it's a clothing brand called V-Lone. One of their style shirts, it's like, it's the C quality shirt, just like $350 for it.
Right.
So it's crazy. So I'm like, I might as well get the same shirt and sell it for $50.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So everybody can get it. Whoever wants to get it. It's no $3,000 for the T-shirt.
Right.
That's that access.
So it was for everybody.
So
Yes.
everything is branded, trademark,
Yeah.
LLC, the whole nine.
Yeah.
So you're a black business.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I asked that one to see if you all your stuff was legit, how you got all your stuff together, all your ducks in a row, as they say. But the other thing is, black businesses are a resource.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we bring social activists, politicians, so forth and so on, but people who own businesses and are intentionally owning these businesses because I'm trying to get something out to our community, even though I'm making money in it. Because again, just because you serve the community don't mean you're supposed to die broke. I don't know why y'all think people who serve the community not supposed to have nothing. Like, oh, you shouldn't even want no money. You should be living piously. No, I need a couple dollars too.
You gotta live.
And I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
Right.
But black-owned businesses are a resource. And do you know that? Or do you carry yourself like that? Or are you just like, yo, it's a good business. It's a good brand. I like my message.
Yeah.
I don't really think about the black part of it.
You know, at first starting out, it was basically, you know, it's just a business. You know, I like money. I like clothes. You know,
Right,
so
right.
it was just that at first. But you know, as time went on, I was seeing what black businesses are doing for black communities. What power they do have. So it started, gravitating more towards helping everyone.
Right.
You know, so I think that's the most part for it.
That's what's up. It's the saying on the shirt that you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
on
it's-
now.
it's on the
Can you,
back.
can you
All of 'em?
stand up and show?
I got
Look at the camera so
You know,
so
right
that
on.
everybody can see.
It's right on the back. You know, a child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to
I
feel
like
it's worn.
that. Yeah.
You know?
Turn around and
Show
show the
the
front. Show them the front. Show them the front.
They seen it before because I wore
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
But this is
That's
this
nice.
is the owner. This
Yes.
You know, when I
This
saw
is
Young
that,
black
I saw that.
entrepreneur right here.
Nah, man.
Yes. And how old are you?
I just turned 20 not too
Look
long
at
ago.
this.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at this.
So,
Yes.
So
The-
maybe you can buy some advertisement time
Yeah.
in the magazine.
Yeah.
I was already thinking about doing an article because I
That'd be real
love,
Good story.
yeah, no, I love the saying, the mission
Yeah.
of it is,
Wow.
yeah, absolutely.
So you know,
Yeah.
I wanted like all my pieces to have like a story behind it. I ain't just want to be just the one shirt. So like, the 2 shirts I just dropped Friday, they got a story to it too. I could open it.
Yeah. Let us see it. Let us see it.
It's basically, the same shirt. It's just like a mirror effect on both of them. Like one of the shirts basically represents, even in the good, like whenever something bad happens, like you always gotta look towards the positive. This one right there is basically, whenever, even in the bad, there's always a paradise for you. It's always something good in life for you. You always gotta look towards the better things. So it's basically that. Like I want every piece to have a story. I don't just want it to be a shirt. I don't just want it to be a hoodie. I want it to be a story behind everything.
So
I
have
like
you,
that.
my fault. Go ahead.
No, I just want to know, how did you, like, is this a part of your upbringing? Did you always have, like, are you optimist? Were you raised by a certain, like, how did you become this type of young man?
I was really around my grandparents a lot.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were some
That'll
old
do
souls
it.
right there, and definitely like my dad. My dad was always like that woke type of guy.
Okay.
It wasn't he would tell me like school it's good, but it ain't everything. Like he
Right.
would teach me like if you do go to school, go for something that's gonna matter basically.
Right.
Chemistry or something like that. But he was always giving me like books. Like I was like in 3rd grade reading Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X, stuff like that. So it's like I think they had a lot to deal with, like who I am today.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes, it does.
definitely.
Yes, it does. It's up to us, y'all.
Yeah.
Absolutely. They did a very good
Show
job.
another one.
Very good job. I
So,
like that.
being as though you like fashion and
Nice.
has a message, do you want to go beyond t-shirts and hoodies? Is it like, do you want to suits? Because they call it urban wear. I don't
Yeah.
really, but jeans, hoodies, sportswear. What what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Where you want to go with it? Like,
So
or
right
is
now,
it just something to catapult you to your next entrepreneurial venture?
Nah, it's basically, I'm trying to do everything. I don't just want to be a regular just clothing brand. I want to be above Louis. I want to be above Gucci. I want to be that brand everybody wants. So, I'm going to have to do stuff that, other brands don't do. So in
Right,
terms of suits,
exactly.
stuff like that, glasses, suitcases, it don't matter.
Right.
I'm going to have to end up doing some of that stuff eventually. So, right now, this style of clothing is called streetwear. So, right now I'm just venturing in streetwear, and then I do plan on moving,
Right.
into other categories.
Now, do you have outside of the message? Do you have anything like signature that you're gonna have and like? Because I know the message is unique, of course, and then
Yes,
like
they
how you
are.
said,
They're very
every
unique.
joint gonna have a story. Is that the signature thing that everything has a story,
Yeah, I
or
think so.
is it like a design that you have, or you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
a way that your clothes are cut or something
Right,
like that? Because I
right.
see that in a lot of
Right.
different fashion designers. They have different things that make it their signature.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
So in terms of that, I came to the fashion game a little late, right? So a lot of the Philly brands, they already got to other stuff. Like most Philly brands got the little 3M, the reflective. A lot of Philly brands got the distress work. So in terms of my stuff, I think my route, it was putting a story behind every piece. It was having something that makes it
Right.
Right.
that shirt.
Right.
I think that's really what it was.
Is it something that's
that.
always organic, or is it something that you like search for? Like, I need to know what this next message is going to be, so you might read a couple different things, or look at the news, or look at social, or is it just like you wake up in the morning and it's like, damn, this is how I'm feeling today,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Or this is an experience that I had at work, or not,
yeah.
because that's an experience from school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at work or in the family, and that's what is it, or an organic thing, or do you search for your stories or your messages to put in your brain?
It's a mixture of both. With this shirt exactly, that proverb. I was reading a sci-fi book, and then the dude was reciting an African proverb, and it was that, and I read it, and I'm like, whoa, like I need that, like I could use that, and
Right.
it just went from there. And I think with the proverb, it could be taken in so many different ways.
Right.
So I think that's why I just gravitated to it and thought to use that. And then the other things, sometimes I'll just be sitting drawing like sketches or stuff.
So you're an artist, too.
Nah, I can't draw. I can't draw. I just try my hardest.
You try your hardest.
But it'll be like stories come to me or ideas come to me. So like the way I got it set up, so I got my graphic designer. I got one graphic designer here, and I just met a graphic designer. I got him in Indonesia. So my boy Derek, sometimes he'll just come over to my apartment, and since I can't draw, I'll basically tell him like this is what I'm feeling, and like 30 minutes later he'll what you think about this, and that's how we came up with this shirt. I was just sitting next to him, he was adding stuff. I'm like, nah, not that. He would add something else. I'm like, that's it. And then Ravi, that's my graphic designer in Indonesia. I tell him what I need. He just sends it right back like 30 minutes later.
Wow.
So do you ever like you do the ideas with your one homie that y'all be at the crib,
Yeah.
and then you take that idea and send it? Do you ever send it to the boy in Indonesia and like, listen, this is what we got. What can you
Yeah.
add to that?
Yeah, so it's been times like that. Like it was one I just had my boy do, and then I asked Ravi in Indonesia. I asked him to do it too, and then just see which one I like better. And then sometimes I'll just pick one, or sometimes I'll have them like collaborate to make an
Okay.
even better one. Basically.
No,
that's
that's dope.
decent.
I,
That's
yo, I
nice.
like I love the thought that you put into this,
Yeah.
man. Like seriously,
That's
but it
crazy.
speaks to the quality. Because yo, when I got this shirt, I wasn't expecting it to be flimsy or nothing,
Yeah.
but it's a quality shirt.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
especially how everything is written on there. Like
Yeah.
it's just a quality shirt.
Yeah.
I was just like, damn, this is dope. This ain't no bullshit, John. Like
Yeah,
this ain't
yeah.
my nephew just print press some shit. Yo, can you put my nephew up there? Like
Yeah.
he like no, he really was
You
like,
can tell
yo,
work put
this is
into it.
this shit is dope. He
Yeah.
told us like he told me he was
Yeah.
talking. He was like, yo, this shit is dope, man. You need to see it. You need to let him be on the show.
Shout out to
No, no doubt. Unc definitely was. But when I
Yes.
seen,
Yeah.
but once I seen the shirt, I was like, no. And I read what was on the back. I said,
Yeah.
no, it ain't no problem. Like, yo, he
So-
could definitely come.
Basically with the texture and all that, like I said again, it's all like the research I put in. Like so the whole progress of me doing the shirt is basically I come up with the design with my graphic designers. After that, I'll send it over to the manufacturers. They'll make it, send it back, and then I'll sell it. So I got a manufacturer, him and his dad. They've been doing it for like 10 years plus. I just started with them, but before I was doing I had a manufacturer out in Cali, Supreme Screen Printing. So I was working with them for a little bit. But it's all basically like research, because like you said, there are flimsy shirts out there like the Gildan
the
and stuff like
quality
that.
of the when you
And-
got quality,
So
and then you gotta have quality when
Yeah.
you got graphics like that. You
Yeah.
can't put graphics like
Well,
that
yes.
on cheap material.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
and it was tests I ran, like washing it, seeing how many times I could wash it before it came off. This
That's
one
good
I'm still
research.
washing it. It
Yeah,
don't come off.
exactly, exactly.
Yo, man, you put a lot
appreciate
into this,
right
man.
here.
Like
Yeah, for
seriously,
sure.
I
Yeah,
appreciate
this
that,
one
man.
right here.
Yeah, you got that. You got that. You got that.
Yo, your uncle wasn't you know, he wanted to come on and talk.
He
but
gonna
I'm
be
glad
talking
didn't.
trash too. He ain't been on here. He gonna
Nah, that's my
been
dog
on
though,
there.
man.
He really gonna be talking
Hey,
trash.
listen, man. I really appreciate y'all. Like, definitely,
Yes,
you
thank
gotta
y'all
come
for
back
coming
on. Let us
out.
know what
No
the
problem.
progress is. We Black Press, so you know you gotta come back on. You know,
You already know.
and
Yes,
report
we
something.
gotta get featured
can we
in that
can we get her on here or
magazine. We
something?
get featured in
Yo,
that
reporting
magazine.
live from the scene. We needed to come in and tell us a story about something going on. That would be so tough.
You already know.
Yo, this is PSA Philly Service Announcement.
support, and
Love,
grace,
support, and
y'all.
grace. Takeover Tuesday.
love it.
Tuesday Takeover. Social activism, resources, art.
Art.
That's what we doing out here. Come
Rockaway
get what you
Radio.
need.
Yes.
And we out, y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you.